March 18th, Mike Tyson, Razor Ruddock. Razor Ruddock dies. If he doesn't die, it doesn't count. If he's not dead, it doesn't count.
Okay. How you doing, everyone? My name is Ryan and this is Ade, and welcome back to another edition of Box Talk. Before we start this video, me and Ade had a big discussion about is this video worth doing, because Ade was not too sure after he saw the record. It's Vasyl Lomachenko versus, please read, Ade.
Dun dun dun. He is fighting a guy called Chonlatarn Piriyapinyo.
Okay. Here at Box Talk, we always try to be very honest with the boxing and tell you exactly how we see it.
Yeah.
I have never in my life heard of this guy.
Yeah. Can I be honest with you? There's a few fighters that so-called big name world champions are fighting. Hidenori Ataki, Scott Quigg. Yeah. Never heard of Hidenori Ataki. Yeah. In fact, I thought that was a movie. Look, I love Vasyl Lomachenko. You know what? I think the world loves Vasyl Lomachenko. You know, funny thing is, before we even go into the fight, if we do go into the fight, I saw an interview with George Groves about 6 months ago. I was just bored, going online, blah, blah, blah. And they was asking him a series of questions, like preparation for the Carl Froch fight. So it was around that time. They asked him, who is the #1 fighter in the world today? Guess who he said?
Lomachenko.
Lomachenko. He said he went to America and saw a kid spar that he's heard about, and he said it was just, he said it wasn't normal. He said it was almost like it was too advanced, it was too good. He said like what amateurs come through. Amateurs don't come through with spite. Amateurs try and pick points because they're amateurs. He said this kid was punching with so much spite, but so much good foot movement. Yeah,
good balance.
Yeah, and again, that's Goglovkin. Yeah, that's Kovalev. Yeah, that's this new Bertibiev. Yeah, there's something going on in the Russian juicer. I don't know what's going on.
They're good boxers, but let's be honest. If you're talking about boxing, the old Russian system, the Cuban system were the best in the world.
Yeah, and I think it's coming from
let's get right. America was in that mix as well, but the American system dropped off in the 80s. Yeah. When the Americans dropped off, it was always Russia, America and Cuba. Yeah. So America dropped out, Russia and Cuba took over, and are still taking over.
And now, to me, as good as Cuba is, Russia's just steamrolling.
No, the difference with Cuba, with Russia, is that once they turn pro, they're proving their worth. Yeah. Where Cubans, we don't know.
You don't know what's going on.
Back to the whole picture.
Yes.
Of Lomachenko.
Yes.
When you got someone like Lomachenko, and before this fight was announced, I was always saying to myself that when Lomachenko fights someone with experience, he's gonna struggle because he doesn't have that. And I said when he fought Salido, I said Salido's gonna beat him because he didn't have the experience, and Salido did beat him. And then when he had the fight against Gary Russell, I said Lomachenko would win, but he'd be tested and everything. But then I watched an interview on Fight Hype with Kevin Kelly. Yeah. And Kevin Kelly said, you got to watch out for the amateurs. He said, when you have world-class amateurs that have 200, 300, 400 fights, they need to be run fast because they've been used already and their body's not as fresh as other fighters. Yeah. He said, when you look at other guys that have short amateur careers, i.e. like a Bernard Hopkins, they could last much longer because the body's not used with wear and tear. And I thought, guess what? When you're in a tournament and you fight maybe 2 fights in a day or 3 fights in a day, and you're not world tournament, not national, but just local regions and stuff like that, so you are getting your 12 rounds in, or your 15 rounds in, or whatever, because you're fighting short fights 2 or 3 times a day. And so, or even sparring, you're sparring hard. The point I'm making is, as much as before I was saying Lomachenko needed experience, he don't. Yeah. With 300 amateur fights, with all his medals and achievements he's made, he's already a seasoned pro. So regardless if it's 1 fight or 3 fights, I'm backtracking on my comments on previous videos.
Yeah, and you know what, I think it's a good backtrack, and I'm happy for your honesty to backtrack. Look, you're right. Kevin Kelly's article is a good article. You spoke to me about it the other day, and it makes a huge amount of sense. And we'll go into Luke Campbell and Anthony Joshua in a minute, but it makes a huge amount of sense. And what more of it makes sense is the fact that not only these guys having 200, 300, 400 fights, some of them are going really deep. Rigondo's like 300 plus fights. You know what I mean? As an amateur, Lomachenko the same thing. They're sparring pros, you know. Yeah. That's the thing. They're not sparring fellow amateurs. So when Bernard Hopkins says it's not the wear and tear on your body isn't through the fight, it's through the preparation. These guys are going through the same kind of preparation as a pro would do. I mean, I watched Carl Froch before the Groves' first fight. He was sparring an amateur. An amateur sparring Carl Froch. That says a lot. So you're right, Lomachenko's good to go. That's why this fight is so disappointing to me. You don't have the first warm-up fight, which is a warm-up fight. You don't then fight Salido, world champion, Gary Russell Jr. at the time, 24-0, to fight this kid. Now this kid, for the uneducated boxing fan, you might look at the record like we just did and think 55 fights, 1 loss. Wow, his record of who he's fought.
And this is what me and Andy were talking before the video started.
It's embarrassing.
Read the record, please.
Okay, so he last fought a guy that was 2-2. Before that, he fought a guy that had 29 wins, 19 losses. Before that, a guy that had 25 wins, 14 losses. Before that, he had fought a guy, this is not a joke, 1 win, 10 losses. Now, we destroy Eddie Hearn.
Yeah.
We've come on here and destroyed Frank Warren sometimes for these matchups.
Yeah.
We've got to start destroying top rank Bob Arum now. I get the idea of protecting your fighter.
Yeah.
That's embarrassing. He's a world champion now. The fact he's had 3 fights means nothing. Yeah. He's a world champion.
Bob Arum said something in a press conference, and he said he's repeated it multiple times over the years. He said, boxing fans don't know boxing, they care about the main event.
Yeah.
That is an insult to any boxing fan. To anybody, that's an insult. We want to watch boxing, we want to watch competitive matches.
Yeah.
He's seen this fight, he's got it in Macau, he's got all the tax breaks, got Pacquiao doing all the little bits he wants to do, you know what I'm trying to say, He's put this card together, in all honesty, as the cheapest card he could do. Because Pacquiao's going to sell. Either way you cut it, no matter if Pacquiao's numbers are up or down, in boxing terms, 400,000 buys is huge.
Without paying the American taxes.
Yeah.
Everything.
Yeah, and Pacquiao normally does get about 600, 700,000 views.
Oh, constantly.
So he's getting double what he really expected over this fight.
Yeah.
So for him, there's no benefit in it. He's going to hold Lomachenko until we can see a time, not to cash him out, but to match him wisely.
Yeah. I just feel like the fans lose out now. We saw the Gary Russell Jr. performance, and I thought it was a fantastic performance. Yeah. Like you say, for amateur fights, but sometimes pro headgear, it's a different thing. Yeah. For him to put on that performance, in my head I was expecting. Look, they're talking about possibly doing a Rigondo type thing. Yeah. Like he's the only one that could, because of the amateur experience, match a Rigondo. I'm not saying chuck him in against Rigondo now, but I want to see that kind of trajectory.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, right now after the Salido and Gary Russell Jr., he's just gone like that, and that harms him. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? More than anything, so it's disappointing. But at the same time, props to Lomachenko. Look, your 3rd fight, world title. We've got guys over in this country that we want to see matched up, and it's still being matched quite soft as far as I'm concerned. Luke Campbell being one of them. Like you say, if you're good to go in the amateurs, you're good to go in the pro. And I think we should start seeing tougher matches.
Well, you know, like I said, this fight is of course about Lomachenko, but it's really more about how disappointed we are with certain events in boxing. Yeah. How are you gonna call this fight for Lomachenko?
Lomachenko steamrolls this guy, if I'm honest. But the only thing about this guy is that the guy obviously knows how to survive. Yeah. I mean, he fought Chris John about 2 years ago. Yeah. Chris John at 47-0 at the time. It was a unanimous decision. I don't think there was any knockdowns either. So he knows how to survive against world-class opposition. So you never know. Yeah. It's kind of in his hometown. So you never know. It could go points. Lomachenko's been points twice. Yeah. We don't know about Lomachenko's power yet. Because he didn't put Salido down. He didn't really either hurt thinking too much either. So I don't know if he's got the snap to stop someone yet.
I think I'm going to go with, I think Lomachenko has got power. I think because he normally when people get a lot of knockouts on the record, because they fight guys that are much lesser caliber than them early, so you get a lot of quick knockouts, and when you reach world class,
very true.
The knockouts stop.
Yeah, why should you be knocking out those people?
He should be knocking these guys. He should be knocking these guys out. So I think he has got power. I also think he's got the ability where if he didn't have power, he knows how to set shots up, use his body weight, use his combination punching to get a stoppage. This guy is durable. 55 fights with 1 loss says you've got something about it.
But 33 stoppages, by the way. Even if it's bums, 33 stoppages, 33 stoppages.
The problem I have with this fight here, and it's just honestly intriguing, I'm trying to say, the guy's been beaten, he should beat.
Yeah,
and you should knock them out. No, I'm trying to say, regardless of whatever, when you've got 55 fights, you're experienced in the ring. So when you're fighting guys that are 1 and 10, you're supposed to knock him out. So I'm going for Lomachenko by early to mid-round stoppage. I think he's going to get him out there because this guy should not be in the ring with someone of Lomachenko's quality.
And very quickly before we end this, the thing for me for Lomachenko, look, the fight I want to see Lomachenko in next is Walters. Exactly.
But that is boxing.
That's boxing. 2 world champions. Why should I not see it? Do you know what I mean? A unification fight. Massive fight as well. No, I mean, it's a fight that, look, it ain't going to do Madison Square Garden or Las Vegas, but it's doing like a Barclays Center or an Atlantic.
And it's a top-ranked fight which can be made easily.
Easily.
And
then you never know, either of them, Rigondo, weight advantages, different. We're talking, like you said, the lightweights, we're talking 3-4 pounds here and there. They all probably walk around the same anyway, so it can happen, it can work out. But that's the kind of fight I want to see. Look, guys, here we go. We've got Vasyl Lomachenko. This is his full fight. Full fight.
According to Boxtalk.
Yeah, according to Boxtalk, you don't count the other 6 or 7 fights. Yeah, full fight. According to Boxtalk, disappointing opponent, but again, not his fault. It's Bob Arum, the way Bob Arum is doing at the moment. Where does Lomachenko go from here? I just mentioned Walters. There's been rumours on Twitter around about Rigondeaux. With his style, with the boxing pedigree, he probably has, believe it or not, guys, he might have a better amateur record than Rigondeaux, or very closely matched in terms of gold medals, Olympics. So could he be the man to cause Rigondeaux problems? Get your comments below. Email us at
boxtalk@hotmail.co.uk, and don't forget us on Twitter at boxtalkuk.
Also, guys, don't forget to subscribe, and thanks for watching this edition of Boxtalk. Cheers.